Oh, hi. My name is Emily, as you may or may not know, and today is a yapping video. It's a yapping video, but without a clickbait title, okay? Because today I'm actually going to be doing what the title says. I'm gonna eat a bunch of aphrodisiacs and just see what happens to me. Hey guys, so I actually changed my mind. The original title was going to be eating a bunch of aphrodisiacs and seeing what happens to me, which is truthful, honest, and raw to my core. However, I think I do want to make it a clickbait title, and I'll probably say something like, I'm a liar, never trust me again, something like that. So first of all, an aphrodisiac, I think, because I remember I researched, I Googled aphrodisiacs before because I was kind of like, wait, how does a food make you horny? Hello, only fan fiction and maybe even like another person is supposed to do that. I think it's something about, it's a vasodilator, so it can, increase blood flow to the nether region. Or let's just say what? Okay, so aphrodisiac is kind of like, breaking down the dam to the Red River that's leading to the southern hemisphere. Something like that. Okay, so an aphrodisiac is a substance, such as food, drink, or drug, that increases desire, pleasure, or performance, named after Aphrodite, the Greek goddess of love. So, girl, I'm doing this for you today. I'm going to write down a list of aphrodisiacs, and then I'm going to go to Trader Joe's to buy them. And let's just say, living in New York, when you go to Trader Joe's, you are accepting the fact that you are putting yourself in harm's way, sort of, right? So I'm gonna have to do a little bit of mental preparation. I can't promise you how much I'm going to be filming in there because I also might be fighting for my life and being distracted. So I Googled a list of common aphrodisiacs, and of course, we have our main girl, center stage, the oyster. She is kind of, when we think about tradition, when we think about traditional family values, when you are in a dry marriage where you're on the brink of making it open, at least take the wife out to the oyster bar, kind of see what happens after that. I mean, the whole thing about oysters is, you're doing it raw. It's kind of going down your throat in a way that might be sensual or actually really fucking disgusting. And I guess I will be finding that out today because I've actually never had oysters. Maybe that's why I was so comfortable having a 3-year-long arc of celibacy. Anyways, dark chocolate, love. Pomegranates, chili pepper. Okay. Oh my God, this is about to turn into one of those videos where it's like, the ghost pepper challenge. I ate the hottest pepper in the world and I had to go to the hospital. Let it not turn into that because I have dinner plans tonight. But okay, I'm gonna go get these aphrodisiacs. And then, and some of you also might be wondering, Emily, why are you doing this? I just thought it would be a good idea, and it's not even that I'm preparing for anything. I literally just have dinner plans with my friends tonight. I hope that these aphrodisiacs don't affect me so much that I make the meal awkward. I'm kind of pulling like a, what is that movie when Harry met Sally? When Harry met Sally and she's all up in the restaurant moaning, and she's kind of doing it for a bit, but I hope that for me, I'm not doing it in a way that's sort of like sincere and that it's just like coming out of my body in a very real way. Do you guys hear this? Like, the people play their music so loud sometimes, the bass is bumping so much, it literally shakes the cutlery in my kitchen. Okay, first thing that I will read out of my treasure trove of thoughts before I go to Trader Joe's. And also, guys, I've decided that for the foreseeable future of yapping videos, I am just going to read from the oldest parts of my notes because these thoughts have been entirely neglected. So I just want to revisit my mindset then and kind of almost do somewhat of a psychological study on myself. This first note, well, let's just read it. It's kind of, pertinent for today's video. The next time I hook up with a woman, when she's in my nether region, I'm gonna sing, "It's going down for real," in parentheses, like the Florida song. I'm trying to think, what are other songs that would be good to sort of just bust out right in the middle of doing an intimate act? Maybe, I got a feeling that tonight's gonna be a good night. Kind of optimistic, right? Bringing an aura of positivity into the bedroom. This might be a little bit too much because it might be a slightly too enthusiastic, but opera, right? You know, you're experiencing a very pleasurable sensation. You could, you know, break out the hallelujah, hallelujah. But if they're atheists, then they might kind of just be like, and what does that have to do with me? Anyways, okay, let's get these freaking aphrodisiacs. And then also I want to show you guys my outfit. Okay, so first I have a necklace that says honey. And then I have these gold earrings, golden hoop earrings that I got from Italia, right? And funny story about these gold hoop earrings. This is one of the most, should I say this? Because it might sound braggish. But this is truthfully what happened. This is one of the most overt experiences of pretty privilege that I've ever experienced, right? I walked into the store and I was looking at these earrings and the man literally gave it to me half price. And he flat out just said, "You're so beautiful, I'm gonna give it to you at half price." And I was very shocked. And then of course I said, "Thank you, I will take the discount." That was one of the only times that's ever happened to me. And then wait, okay, I'm gonna have to lift up my skirt. Not in that sort of way, so that I can show you my shoe, I mean. Okay, this is my skirt. I love this skirt. It has like a wool like front, so it's actually quite warm. I got it in Chinatown. And then these shoes, I've been loving these like Mary Jane sneaker sort of shoes. And they have, of course, a lovely, lovely Velcro. So yeah, this is today's outfit. All right, I'm gonna go to Trader Joe's and then I will be right freaking back. I'm back. I'm back from Trader Joe's and I did not film at all because I was scared. Is that okay? So let's go through the aphrodisiacs that I got. So my idea is that I was going to make a sandwich, right? And put a bunch of aphrodisiacs in the sandwich and just eat it. However, I forgot the bread. I forgot the bread, right? Famously easy thing to forget when you're making a sandwich. So instead, I'm just gonna eat all of these individually and kind of just do a little mini buffet style sort of thing. So of course, we have our one and only most famous girl, the oyster. So these are natural smoked oysters, hand-packed in olive oil. Honestly, I like crab. I like seafood. So maybe this is gonna be mama's new favorite thing and then I'm just gonna be walking around all the time horned up. Pomegranate seeds. Oh wait, I also have dark chocolate already at home. Avocado. A lot of these things I actually didn't even know were aphrodisiacs. And then online, like a chili pepper commonly comes up, but then I couldn't find a chili pepper, so I googled, does a jalapeno work? And they said yes. So, oh, and then I also got brie cheese because I was thinking to myself, you know, once I make this sandwich, I'm gonna have a lot of leftover bread. So I might as well get some brie cheese for the leftover bread. And where is the bread in question? Not on this fucking table because I am absent of mind, but present in enthusiasm. So I feel like we should do the oysters first. Before I open them though, let's see, what is something that I have written down for you, the masses? Why do they call it a French kiss? Were French people just licking on each other before anyone else? Kind of unfortunate because aren't they known to have bad breath? Maybe that's why they're sticking their tongues into each other's mouths to clean it. French people, comment down below. Do you have bad breath? And do you like to do your specific style of kissing, which is darting that tongue in and out like a groundhog, like Groundhog Day, Pennsatucky Phil, right? I wonder if the first person to ever French kiss was like, or to ever receive a French kiss, if they pulled back with the speed of light and were like, what was that? Did you feel that? What was that? Who was that? And then the other person just had to awkwardly be there and be like, I was just trying something new, you know? But when I open this can, I'm gonna Google the origin of French kissing because I am just kind of curious. Oh, hell no. Guys, I'm scared. I'm a little scared. Oh! That was my fault. That was my fault. Oh my God. You know what? I literally look like, you know when people do a compilations of the K-pop idols when they're tipping over their birthday cake and the whole fucking thing falls over, and then all the comments are like, why do they infantilize themselves? They're so fucking stupid. That's literally what I just did, except I actually just am that stupid. It smells kind of good though. Okay, give me a second. Okay, my little appetizer before we find out where the origin of French kissing is. My guess is France. This is an oyster. Why does, oh guys, I'm gonna be so honest. This is extremely unappealing. This is supposed to induce sex in people. This looks like something that if I'm locked away on an alien planet, this is the food they would give you just to purely sustain you so that they could keep experimenting on you. This is what they give you. This is something that I would eat on Pluto while I was stripped down naked. Hey, maybe it is an aphrodisiac, right? But no, stripped down naked. And this is my precursor to whatever probe is going to be entering whatever orifice of mine. It's really not sexy at all. Wait, guys, I don't want to eat it, if I'm being honest. Give me a second. Okay, in case I really don't like the taste, this is my saving grace mango flavored seltzer water. So let me just get this at the ready, because I have a feeling I'm gonna kind of need it within arm's reach. Let's just say that. All right. I really don't like the hanging thing on it. I will say, for those who are not in the room with me right now, which is all of you, I'll say the texture, it kind of reminds me of liver. And mama, I'm not a big fan of liver, okay? I'm really not, I don't enjoy the way it feels in my mouth. It just very much so feels like meat. You know what I mean? I was gonna think of a joke about cirrhosis and the liver and how I'm trying to kill, I would rather kill the liver and because I'm cirrhosis. Who cares? Okay. All right, not even Emily, YouTuber and actor, trying oyster for the first time on camera. 1, 2, 3, I just have to do it. Okay. Oh, sweet release. That was good. No, I don't like it. I don't like that. Guys, I'm not a picky eater, okay? I really am not. The only things that I don't like is peanuts and tree nuts because it will make me vomit and or kill me. I have a nut allergy. And I also don't like bamboo shoots in my ramen because of, well, when I was out to dinner with my nursing friends and we had just gotten off of a shift, right? Either me or someone else in the group said that the bamboo shoots taste the way that urine smells. Let's just say after that, I started kind of picking them out. You know, the aphrodisiacness, I think, is probably enhanced by when you're eating it straight out of the shell. And, you know, you're tipping your head back and exposing your neck and slurping, right? Ew, whatever I just did, guys. I'm actually so sorry for that. That was fucking disgusting. But maybe there's something about that where it's like the tipping and the exposing of the neck that's supposed to make it more sensual. This, whatever this is, I mean, let's ask the audience, right? Let's take a look at the material, but not tip it over too much so that we get a repeat of last time. I can't do this. If there's any stray cats out there you'd like to stop by, Mama's got Din Din for you. Not for me. I don't feel aroused at all. I just feel I feel like I feel like I need Listerine. I feel like I need Listerine, and I feel like I'm an idiot still for forgetting the bread. And I know some people might say, you know, Emily, it's because you're eating it out of a fucking can. Like when you have it fresh from the ocean, you'd maybe like it. But here's the thing, guys. When things are too fresh from the ocean, it's like I am tasting sediment. I'm tasting something that I don't want in my mouth. When I am eating seafood that's so fresh that the sand is still in there, it's sort of like, okay, well, you know, usually when I'm eating seafood, I might be at the beach anyways. There's already sand in my orifices, in my crevices from when I was at the beach earlier today. I thought my mouth was supposed to be a safe space, right? And all of a sudden now there's sand in my mouth. I don't think oysters are the ones with pearls, no. I will say I would find it pretty sexy if, you know, I felt one of those pearly pearls in my mouth and then oh my God, now I'm rich. I don't even need to have sex with you anymore. I can just buy a new toy. I'm joking. Obviously, human connection is, you know, with the rise of AI and stuff, I don't want to be joking about, you know, machines taking over our jobs or our pleasures and passions, right? Anyways, all right, so oysters, no go. I am going to have some dark chocolate after this because after that, Mama needs a pleasant, sweet surprise, okay? Let's just say that. Oh wait, I just realized we never Googled the origin of French kissing. Let me just, you know, I'm sure so many of you at home are dying to know. And so many of you at home, you know, if you wanted to know, it's too hard to just Google it yourself. You should wait until this video comes out so that I can relay that information to you on my behalf, right? Where did French kissing come from? Okay, interesting. The term French kiss originated from American and British soldiers in France during World War I. Guys, I'm sorry. I feel like I'm going to burp, and I know that if I burp, that taste is going to come back in my mouth. I need a moment to suppress this so that I don't have to taste it again. Okay, so it originated from American and British soldiers in France during World War I who noticed that French women were open to more passionate tongue-involved kissing compared to, for instance, Puritan-bred New England women. So basically, they were kind of like, yeah, the ladies back home, prudes. In France, that's where bonjour, right? All right, so this is dark chocolate with raspberries. I don't know if raspberry is an aphrodisiac, but I think any fruit that's red, I'm kind of like, okay, you're kind of serving sexy in a way, right? Just because the color red, it's full of passion and lust, right? Speaking of, this is the next thing that I just wrote. How did saying come about? Is that just a natural noise people were making, or was it a specific phrase that someone was like, we need to have a thing to say when we don't know what the hell is going on? And they designated to be that. Okay, now I'm going to become annoyingly aware of how much I'm saying I had a note under this thought. I'm gonna burp again, guys. Oh my God, my stomach actually does not feel good from those oysters. I really did not enjoy that. And you know what the worst part is? This little can, $27.99. I'm just joking. Wouldn't that be shitty and crazy if that was true? Okay. What if we chose a different filler word and instead of saying we said ugh or nah? So, something like that. So I will implement it if we chose a different filler word than how it would kind of translate to everyday conversation. So, this is so good. I kind of taste like nah. I had something like this at a restaurant in Paris. It was really good. Let me know, should we change to a different filler word to kind of make things more interesting? Or maybe it could even be like emotion, right? So instead of using filler words, We do filler emotes. So, this is kind of awkward. I don't know what to say. Just right in the middle of conversation. Especially if you are perhaps in a meeting about to get a promotion, or you're telling someone important news and you hesitate. You can always fill in with something. For example, I'm afraid to tell you that your husband had very severe injuries and hospice is always an option. So here's something I wrote down. It's more of a concept. 2 really attractive salespeople, 1 man, 1 woman, are pressuring me to purchase something that I don't want. Call that buy panic. And then I wrote down, BUY/BI panic. That's great. I'm really glad that I could put that out into the ether. I think that when someone is pressuring you to buy something at a store, that is a one-way ticket. I understand you're just trying to do your job, and I love your determination. However, for me as a people pleaser, I know that I have to get out of that situation as soon as possible. And I've gotten a lot better at sort of being like, I remember one of the first times that I went to New York, to visit and not to live, right? I was around, now this is interesting. I was around 15 years old, and there was this older guy, salesperson, who was trying to get me to buy these I Heart NY booty shorts, where it says I Heart NY like on the booty, right? Not on the mons pubis, which would really be the only other option. And I remember feeling like my mom wouldn't want me to buy this sort of vibe. Of course, in my head, I thought, only sluts dress like this. I'm joking. But I remember also not thinking that it was weird that he kept pressuring me to buy it and kept saying things like, wow, now that I really think about it, he was saying things like, oh, this would look great on you, and that I had good legs and stuff like that. Ooh. Did I just uncover a memory? Because I wasn't going to talk about that when I initially brought this up. But the point is, he was pressuring me to buy it, and I ended up buying it because I didn't know how to say no, right? And he probably overcharged me for it as well. And I remember, I think it was about 1 round of that going through the wash, and the I of the I Heart NY was already peeling off. And then sooner or later, I'm just going to have a pair of shorts that just says why on my ass. Why? But now that I've gotten a bit older, I've gotten better at sort of being, oh my God, this is so beautiful, but I just can't afford it right now. And sometimes when you say that, for me, that's not necessarily true. But when you say it like that, and it is just lying, but there is a sense of, she's struggling, so I shouldn't bother her, And I don't always do that. I try not to lie. Sometimes I also do the thing where, you just go, oh, thank you, but I'm just looking. I'm just browsing. That's usually my go-to. I'm trying to think, have I ever had such an attractive salesperson that it made me buy the thing they were trying to sell me? I want to say no, because, although I am extremely superficial, what I am even more is frugal. And I'm not superficial. That was a joke. Sorry. You know what? Sometimes I just need to say something and trust and have good faith that people will know I'm joking. But this is the thing about the internet, and I'm about to go on a whole other tangent. This is the thing about the internet. I have become trained, and I've spoken with some of my other content creator influencer friends about this, where I do feel like, not with you guys specifically, but there's this sense of walking on eggshells and having to clarify when you're joking so that it doesn't get taken out of context, and then all of a sudden This just in, not even Emily is a vain, vapid bitch who only buys things from pretty people. And if you're, ugly, she actually steals money from you. If you're ugly and you own any type of establishment and you see this woman walk in, hide your fucking tip jar, right? But anyways, that's kind of for a whole other video. I was going to make a video about my relationship to social media, especially because, I kind of grew up doing it. I've been online since It's like over 10 years. I've spent probably more of my life online at this point than being off of it, which is kind of really interesting. And I wonder how that affected me mentally. Who knows? Okay. God, my hand still smells like oyster. That is so unfortunate. All right. Something I wrote down. The next time someone asks me how I am, I'm going to say, I don't want to get into it. Even if I'm doing good. I think that there's this thing with English speakers, and I'm sure it's in other languages too, where there's a lot of things that are used as greetings that it almost feels, it's a rhetorical question, right? Hey, how are you? Odds are, I want to know if you're doing poorly, if you need to get something off your chest. It's like, yes, I want to know. That's not really my intention when I'm saying it. But if it happens to open the floodgates to something, well, that's kind of my own fault because I asked that, right? But then for the other person, I have a feeling you don't want to answer, honestly, right? It's kind of an exchange where there's like even when we think about when people are learning a new language, right? And they say, fuck, they went off script. Like, now I don't know what to say. Even in your own native language, when you're an English speaker, if you go up to someone and, hey, how are you? How's your day going? And they say, and this has happened to me before, where recently even, I asked a barista how their day was going, just in a sort of flippant way, not expecting anything of it. And they went, what did they say? They said, it's going really bad. And I said, oh, I'm sorry. I remember that I kind of was taken aback a little bit. And but I didn't want to give them a vibe of why would you say that to me? Why would you say that to me? I want the oat milk. I'm just worried about the oat milk right now. I don't care about, your disposition or your emotional imbalances. I kind of just want my chai, right? I didn't want to give a rude thing. And I'm like, honestly, if this person needs to vent, I do have work to do, but my schedule is pretty flexible. So, and I was like, oh, I'm so sorry to hear that, but I did kind of laugh accidentally at first because I just really wasn't expecting that. And they sort of lightened up a little bit. I don't know if they were trying to tell a joke or something, but they went, it's just because I'm here, it's so hot in here and, we're all suffering because of how hot it is. Mind you, I didn't think it was that hot, but I just wholeheartedly agree. I said, yeah, it's a fucking Sahara out here, right? Just to sort of validate them. And they, at the end of the exchange, I said, I hope that your day gets better. And they said something like, well, who knows? Or something where it's like, we'll see. And that's interesting because that's usually not how those things go at all. Usually you say, hey, how are you? And then sometimes the other person doesn't even answer. It goes, hey, how are you? Hey, how are you? It's almost like the, hey, how are you? Is one word. Hey, how are you? Okay, I'm going to finish off this bar and then, nervy, I'm going to do the jalapeno. Does anyone else cover their mouth when they're chewing? Because I was doing that around some people and they kind of were poking fun at me being like, what is this, a tea party? Oh, you're so fragile and dainty. Why are you covering your mouth when you're chewing? It's like, out of consideration. What, you want to see all the food that I've masticated all up in my gob? For why, Comment down below if you are like mama, if you are like me, and you cover your mouth when you're eating. Not because you're wanting to appear like a pretty princess, but at the same time, I'm also not trying to appear like, an ogre with no ethics, morals, or manners. All right, next thing. I'm a little scared, but I usually can handle spicy things. So, and also, I told you guys that I would be honest if I started feeling anything like aphrodisiac wise. I don't. Oh. Oh. Okay. Good. That's good. Oh, okay. Does anyone else have super violent nightmares? I I know that I probably wrote that a while ago because I haven't had a violent nightmare in a while. The world in of itself is enough of a violent nightmare. I feel like I'm not even sure how much detail I can get into with these nightmares that I was having, but I'll like dull some of them down. But there was this one nightmare that was so distinct where I was in the grocery store with my mom, and a robber came in to the grocery store, took me and my mom captive, took us to this like really tall building, and then I wake up in this building. It's full of my family and friends. Like, and some of them aren't even my friends, right? It's like people that I went to school with, like acquaintances, and this was all some big ruse like targeted towards me. And in my head, I'm also like, to stick with the theme of you, and also this person, there was the person holding me hostage was going to force me to unalive or pew pew a bunch of everyone else in the room who were my family and friends, and it was supposed to be a torturous experience for me. But then some of the people who were in that room, I'm like, I kind of barely know this person. So for the sake of sticking with the theme of me killing my family and friends and also being able to spare this person, how about this person can just go? If I haven't spoken to this person since high school, I kind of feel like they can go. We unfollowed each other on Instagram a long time ago. If you want me to kill strictly my family and friends, this room is a bit disingenuous, right? Anyways, me being like, actually, can we only keep the people that I really, really love here? If we're just sticking true to the theme. But the guy was posing it like he was giving me an ultimatum, but then something happened where at the end of the day, like, I just had to do it anyway. And then I had to leave the building and explain to the cops what happened. Guys, it was like a movie. It was terrible. And then I had a different nightmare once where I was trapped inside of a pig carcass, like Midsummer. And I know what some of you might be thinking, okay, skinny, fitting inside of a pig, but let me say it was more like a boar, right? It had like fur and tusks, right? I had to claw my way out of this boar only to open up inside that I'm in like an arena with a what's this called, like a bull person. And first of all, now I'm thinking to myself, there's a lot of inconsistency in my dreams, right? I have to kill all of my friends and family, yet there's someone in here who I haven't spoken to since Key Club in 2017. And then, now I have a bull rider in front of me when I just crawled out of a boar. It's a boar. So I don't know. This must be in a different universe or something. But the guy, then I become the animal, right? I became the animal. I was forced was it at gunpoint? I don't know. In so many of my nightmares, I'm being held at gunpoint. It's kind of like all meshing together. I had to charge full speed, covered in guts, at this like bull rider guy in order to like entertain the audience. And I remember the theme of it, or whatever, the notion was, I have to give the best show of my fucking life or I'm actually going to be shot out back. That's where the gun came in. I was going to be shot out back if I didn't really give like a proper rodeo. And yeah, so I would have really violent dreams like that. But I haven't had a violent nightmare in a while, and I haven't had sleep paralysis in a while. I remember I was in that one video, I was telling you guys a lot about my sleep paralysis. Maybe I'm just more happy and well-adjusted now. I don't know if happy, well-adjusted people have nightmares like that. Okay, I'm gonna eat the avocado now. So something else that I wrote down is, and this is a kind of like a little tip and trick. This is in the same vein as the Barcelona. You can pull it out whenever you feel that it's the right time. When I am with my family and there might be a long silence or something like that, I'll go, so does anybody here love me, or was that just a rumor? It's a really fun way to sort of, for me at this point, elongate the silence. Because I'll say stuff like that so much that my family has just learned not to respond or engage. Oh my god, this is a perfectly ripe avocado. You know what this would have been good with? Some bread. Oh, I heard a rumor. Someone said that, and I wouldn't know, someone said that avocado tastes like clean D. Does anyone know if that's true? I mean, it is a very like mild taste. It doesn't really taste like anything. I'm like, does it taste like skin? I mean, if that's true, then I'm happy for you guys. People love avocado toast, all of this. You know, if your flesh, phallic flesh, tastes like avocado, I'd say that's a win. You know, now we can be making clean toast with pickled onions and red chili flakes. Oh, and then kind of tying back to the, hey, how are you? I'm good, how are you? Sort of thing. There are certain things that I say with my mom so much that it kind of has just become this sort of rhetorical, innate response thing where I ask her, are you my best friend? And she says, I better be. Which is fun that we've kind of made that little tradition. Another thing is that I tell my sister that she smells like dung. That's kind of an ongoing thing, mostly on my end. Let me just read. So these, I'm not joking. These are the last texts that I sent to my sister. Sunday, 4:02 p.m. You are full of dung. She says, nah, that's you. I said, this isn't painting me in a good light. I seem really disgusting and unladylike. I said, I'm full of piss. You, dung, and vomit, and bile. And then she said, okay, fine. And then on April Fool's Day, I texted her and said, you don't smell like dung. April Fools. So that's just a little insight of what it's like to be related to me. Is this painting me in a light that makes me look very, maybe a little odd and off-putting in a negative way and not just a quirky way? Who's to say? Oh, sometimes people comment things publicly on my posts like, I saw you in the Macy's on the corner of 27th and Hamlet Road. And it's like, okay, care not to dox me. There's been a couple of times where, and guys, I know you probably don't mean any harm and you're not thinking of it that way, but maybe you should, just in terms of like an internet safety thing. I'm gonna have another bite of this. A nipple. Ooh, why did I do that? I got a comment where it said like something so specific. It was like, I saw you this afternoon at this specific subway station. And then I in my head, I'm just sort of like, and what, it wasn't where I lived, but in my head, I'm like, and what if that's where I lived? I'm gonna have to go ahead and delete that now, you know? So guys, if your favorite YouTuber or your favorite podcaster, you see them, you can message them directly, or you can say, oh my God, I saw you earlier today. You don't have to release their coordinates. Oh my God, okay. I can tell that I definitely wrote this when I was in my celibacy era. Having a web off with Spider-Man, but I haven't had sex in so long that the accumulation of cobwebs between my legs secure me the win in the competition. Good Lord. Sometimes I read these notes and I'm like, am I the same woman anymore? And the truth is yes. But comment down below if you have had a voluntary celibacy era that was kind of like, I don't know, there was this feeling I had when I was in my celibacy era, where it was just, I can only describe it as like, I'm like a bird, I wanna fly away. No one's bothering me or affecting my mental health. I'm having fun with my friends, you know? And it was amazing. And there is something nice about the concept of not only is my body a temple, but it's foreclosed right now. We're undergoing renovations and will be open at a later date that is undisclosed. There's something kind of beautiful about that. But now it's even more amazing that I have a girlfriend, not to brag. Sorry, sometimes I almost feel sometimes that I talk about my single era a lot and how much I loved it, that it almost makes it seem like I'm unhappy to be in a relationship now. That's not the case at all. Sometimes I just don't want to bring it up because I don't want to seem like I'm boasting. My stomach hurts. I'm supposed to get hot pot later tonight. Let's just say I don't know how well the Szechuan broth is going to be mixing with this little number, right? God, I can't wait to throw that away. Okay, I think let me have another bite of this avocado and then I'm going to have some pomegranate. And I think that's the last aphrodisiac that I have. All right, cheers, ding. Something I wrote down. Heckling is so weird. Like, why are you interrupting me? Because really, hecklers, I don't know why stand-up comedy specifically invites hecklers, and it's really only known as a thing that happens during stand-up comedy. I mean, I think heckling happens in two ways that I can think of right now. Hecklers in stand-up comedy, and then hecklers where maybe you're at like a political speech, and then people are saying like, you know, you've killed millions of people in that oil spill, you know, things like that. Or, you know, when people are throwing the shoe at George Washington and stuff like that. George Washington? George Bush. In stand-up comedy specifically, it almost feels like hecklers are trying to be more funny than the comedian or something. Hecklers have so much nerve. And this is a big reason why I don't really care to do stand-up comedy. There's been times where I felt maybe the slightest inkling to do it, but then I think about the heckling, and I don't think I'm someone who can handle that, okay? I think in order to do stand-up comedy in of itself, even in the perfect environment with the perfect audience, takes so much bravery, because the thought of being in a room full of people who are literally watching you, facing you, you tell a joke, and it is crickets. All I hear is, you know, the slurping of someone's vodka cran in the back. Oh my God. When you think about when you tell a joke in the group chat and no one ha-has it and someone just changes the subject. I mean, it is like, stand-up comedy is like that, but times 20,000, right? Sometimes I have thought to myself, hey, maybe I could be good at this thing because, you know, there's semblances of stand-up comedy in what I do online. But then I remember, oh, wait, but that's when I'm alone in my house talking to no one but a camera, and there's no possibility of someone raising their hand and saying, yeah, you fucking suck. Or, you know, what, like, you tell a joke of, or, you know, a setup of one time I was going to the grocery store and then someone in the crowd yells, yeah, I bet you fucking were. Hello? And the thing about a lot of hecklers is that once the attention truly gets turned to them and the stand-up comic is like, all right, well, let's talk to you now. Then now all of a sudden they're, what did you want? What did you want? You're in the crowd hooting and hollering like this is a fucking baseball game. Now when I seemingly am giving you what you want, oh, now you're timid. Now you're timid. When I turn the spotlight to you, ask you to stand up, do a couple jumping jacks, oh, now it's, I'm shy. But then also, I don't know, crowd work is such a big thing that maybe some stand-up comedians want hecklers because it kind of gives them content. And there is a lot of, you know, when you have a really bad heckler, in the comedian's mind, they're probably thinking, no, be ruder to me because this is about to go viral. we're about to go viral, right? I'm going to post this on TikTok, and there are going to be, you're just going to be glad that I didn't show your fucking face, because there is going to be so many comments talking about how disruptive you were, talking about how you are ruining the vibe, and talking about how I am so noble and funny and humorous and handled myself so well. So you know what, sir? Go ahead, yell on. I've thought about doing stand-up comedy, but I honestly just don't think I'm brave enough. And I've even had people sometimes refer to me as a comedian. I don't claim that. I think that in order to earn that title, you have to, bomb in a room full of 5 people. Where, oh God. Yeah, I don't know what's worse. Being in kind of like a stadium crowd and a joke sort of bombs, but it doesn't feel quite as intimate, and it almost feels like you can recover quicker because it feels a little less impersonal. Or if you bomb in a small back room in the back of a Brooklyn bar, and there's only 4 people in there. I mean, at that point, am I even doing stand-up comedy? We're kind of just having a conversation. Something I wrote down: why is the Heimlich kind of embarrassing? There's something about the Heimlich maneuver when you are, I'm sure it's more embarrassing for the person choking, because first of all, you're choking, and it's not embarrassing to choke. We've all done it before. But the person who's actually doing it, they get to be the hero. But then the person who's choking, it's kind of just like, okay, well now it just kind of feels like you're dry humping me from the back and shoving your knuckle into my stomach. Imagine that there is a person out there who doesn't know about the Heimlich maneuver at all, and they're choking, and then a stranger comes up to them and wraps their arms around them and kind of starts doing this motion. In their head, they might be thinking, I'm choking and I am in need of life-saving assistance. Why are you dry humping me? Little do they know, that is the life-saving assistance. Let's see, what else do I have written down? Anything valuable, unlike everything else I've said? Last bite of my avocado half. Something else I wrote down. If someone broke into my house, I would almost want to be super hospitable just to see how they would react. Like, hey, do you want something to drink? Can I take your coat? I wonder if that would throw them off so much that they would be nicer to me, Maybe they were thinking, that I'm going to be combative, that I'm going to be, unwilling, that they're going to have to use a weapon against me. But if I say, hey, you belong here. I want you here. Can I please get you a pink lemonade? That maybe they would have more of a vibe of, you know what? I was going to shoot you dead and drop you off in the middle of the Hudson River. But now that I know you're kind of nice, how about I just take your Chanel sunglasses and we call it a day. Me turning to the door just to make sure that I locked it. Wait, that reminds me. There is this TikTok that I will periodically rewatch because I think it's so funny. Where it's something like POV, your friend with kooky decor is getting robbed or something like that. The robber enters her house and is like, give me the most valuable thing that you have. Bro, I just spat on you. I'm so sorry. Give me the most valuable thing that you have. And she's like, okay. I have this coin purse that is shaped like a life-sized Dalmatian and it has heart sunglasses on it. And then the robber's like, what the fuck?
Sorry? Oh my God.
Give me the most expensive thing you have.
Oh my God, okay. Limited edition. Rami Dabami. My 34th.
What the hell are you supposed to do with that?
It's a purse. Purses, I don't know if you're about...
Is there money in the purses?
No, the money is how I bought the purses. My money is in my closet, really.
It all looks bad. Who would wear any of that?
Okay, get out of my home. How about that?
You know, I am gonna go.
Okay,
because
fine.
this is literally the biggest waste of my time ever.
I've never felt so insulted in my life.
Well, you should be. I'm gonna tell all my other friends never to come here.
I appreciate that.
Okay, I'm gonna start reading from some things that I wrote more recently, just because. Oh, all right. Well, one of the most recent things I wrote is BRB, biracial baby. I've been noticing a lot of interracial couples lately. I mean, I'm in an interracial couple. Yeah, I guess we're going to be getting a lot more BRBs lately. Biracial baby. I've been seeing a lot of Wasians, a Wasian wave, a tsunami even. I'm related to a lot of Wasians. Actually, in my family, me and my sister are the only, I was about to say something bad. I was going to say purebred. I think that's problematic in some sort of way. I do not stick by that claim. We are the only ones who are fully Asian, and the rest of our cousins are Wasian, so we've always been in a sort of Wasian puddle. But now it seems that we are expanding, and almost maybe in relation to global warming, the sea levels are rising in the Wasian puddle. I think I'm done now. My camera's about to die. I hope you all enjoyed today's video. I haven't done a pure yapping video in a while. And verdict, these aphrodisiacs didn't really work. My stomach just hurts. So yeah, hope you guys have a great day. If you get to eat anything today and you happen to have an aphrodisiac, let me know how that is for you. And the code word for today is canned oysters. The secret code is canned oysters. So go ahead and comment that down below if you got to this point in the video. All right, thanks for watching, and I'll do another yapping video soon. I know I haven't been doing them quite as often, but all right. Also, I feel like I said so many times today. I should have been saying there, right. Until next time.